Why, hello everybody! My name is Prunk, and today we're going to talk about Steel Sapphire, the structure deck that you will find, or hopefully find, because nothing's really available right now. So, we are going to go over the card by card in Steel Sapphire, and this is just what you'd kind of expect. The total cost, if you were to buy everything kind of individually, is about 25 bucks, and that ultimately comes down to really one card, and that is Grab Your Swords, who's about a $6 rare. And you're gonna eventually want to get into a playset of this, but in the meantime, it's costing us a little bit. So when we do our deck building of $50, $100, and 100 plus bucks, then we're going to talk about that, and we're going to kind of take away $6 out of our structure deck or our money pool basically, because you should be able to get this for $20 total, and that's just how I do things. And if you don't like it, start your own YouTube channel. So let's go over the card by card and what you'll get in the structure deck. We're going to get 2 Flounders, 3 Captain Hooks, the Forceful Duelist, 2 Goons, 3 Aurora Royal Princesses, 2 Grammatala, 2 Prince Erics, 2 Disguised Jasmines, 3 Mickey Mouse Detectives, 2 Hercules Bodyguard, Kristoff, the official Ice Master, you can get 2 of those. We're going to get 3 more Briar Rose Auroras, 3 Maleficents, the Sinister Valor. We're going to get 1 Aurora, this was her name, Disarming Guardian or Dreaming Guardian, something like that. She's pretty good. We're going to want a couple of those. We're going to play 1 Maleficent, and this one is really important because of the 3 lore that she is going to generate, and her stat line is insane. She is an immediate threat when she hits the board on turn 5. She's either got great stats to take out your own guys, which you really shouldn't have to use her for that, but she's going to ultimately be a 3 quester, and we just need to get rid of her immediately. As for the other ones, we got Beast. He is just phenomenal to fight. He's really good in structure decks because you're going to be popping items and people are all playing items. So if you're in a structure deck format, Beast is really great. But I honestly don't think you ever really need more than 2 copies. There's just not much of a meta for items right now. So playing 2 copies, I think, is the correct answer in any deck list. But that could change later on. Otherwise, we got Simba, the rightful heir. I know what to do. During your turn, whenever this card banishes another character, you gain an additional lore. That is really nice considering his stat line, but he is a questing for 2, so it's kind of counterproductive with him. He's a weird card. He has advantage. Either you quest with him and get 2 lore, or you attack with him and you get 1, which is still good. And then we got other Mufasa. We have this Mufasa, which is King of the Pride Lands. He's just a 3 lore questing guy. We have Scar. When you play this character, an opposing character gets -5 attack. Pretty good in the structure deck. Like, it does come into play quite a bit. We got Simba, the Returned King. And then he's got Pounce, so this gives a character evasive. Or during your turn, this card is evasive, which is good, but not that great for a 7-drop, in my opinion. And then we got Maui, who is an 8-drop with amazing stat line and 3 lore. So those are going to be all of our characters we're going to play with. This structured deck, in my opinion, is probably the weakest. It doesn't quite do anything that blue is good at, and it doesn't really do much that gray is good at. The good cards from Gray are all going to play out in the actions and the songs, but let's look at Develop Your Brain. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put into the hand, and other in the bottom of the deck. So it's basically just choose what you want to draw for 1 cost, and it's inkable, but you really should be using this to try and draw. I would never recommend inking this card. Fire the Cannon, deal 2 damage to chosen character. Just if you get 3 copies of that, it is one of the best. We're going to eventually hunt for a 4th. We got Ransack, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. Just make sure you have at least a card in your hand, so that way you know what you're not forced to automatically discard. I've seen somebody play this just to discard 2 cards, and I made no sense. Smash. So deal 3 damage to a chosen character. This card is good. I don't think you need a full playset of it. I could be wrong in this. I often see it as ink, and you have to be careful about having too much removal. Fire Canyons does the job just as good. As far as some of the songs, we got 1 Jump Ahead, put the top card of your deck into the inkwell. Really, really good for blue. You want ramping, so just getting extra ink advantage is great. Grab your swords. This card, $6. This is the money card that we're going to be really hunting for when we go into the $50 set, but we'll talk about that later. But as of now, you get one in the structure deck, which is great. Items are pretty bad. But in the structure deck, we get 2 magic flowers, 3 coconut baskets, and 2 frying pans. Magic golden flower can come into play. Coconut basket is actually really relevant in structure deck, just being able to play this out, and it actually helps really learn how to order your turn better with coconut basket. We were teaching somebody who we're like, okay, well, if you play, she attacked, or she played somebody and then attacked and didn't get coconut and had coconut basket and played coconut basket in her hand. So we are like, okay, wait, let's replay this turn a little bit. Attack with this, play coconut basket, and then play Hercules or whatever you need. So now you got a heal off because you played it in the correct order. So it's a good card to kind of teach people the like way to really order your turn because it does matter. So good card, but yeah. So this is our structure deck. For $25, you can buy it online, but realistically, you should be able to find all these cards for about $20. So we're going to give ourselves about a $5 window to play around with because if I'm hoping that you guys are able to get your hands on these structure decks at MSRP, and we'll go from there. So for our $50 build, we really just kind of want to improve on what we can actually find, and we're going to just improve on some of the good cards that you find in the structure deck, and I think that's really about it. We don't really have much of a build yet, so let's go over it. All right, so we are sitting here at about $56. And again, I said I was giving myself about a $6 window because of Grab Your Swords, and we're going to be playing 4 copies of that. So let's kind of go over what we've changed. We are getting a couple Captain Hooks now. We want to play a full play set of him. Goons and Flounder are the exact same card. You can play 2 and 2, so that way you don't have to buy any extra. So if you're just trying to make sure you're not buying extra stuff, then play 2 Goons, play 2 Flounders. It's the exact same thing. I just like the synergy, and I like Goons better than Flounder. They just look cooler, in my opinion. But I'm a boy. I like big guys with sticks versus fish. I don't know where I was going with that. We're at 4 copies of Aurora Princess Rose, a Regal Princess, whatever she is. We are playing 4 copies of Grandma. We just want to. This card is great for early game, great for late game. She is just always going to be that stat block. You don't really care if she dies, but you want to get her on the field early on. And if she dies, she's going to your Inkwell. So she is just like a valuable card overall. Don't neglect her. She is phenomenal. You're going to put her in pretty much every blue deck, in my opinion. Because you're just going to want that ramping. She's just going to have value on the field, and she's going to have value in your Inkwell when you're done with her. So, and then we got 4 copies of Prince Eric. He is one of the better 2-cost challengers. He should go into basically every steel deck you play. He's going to take out so many cards at the 3 costs, so you just definitely want him. Mickey Mouse, he's a 3 cost. And again, it just whenever you play this card, put the top card of your deck into your Inkwell face down, exerted. This card right here is just what ramping really is all about. You're not really losing any value or anything by playing this card. You're just gaining an extra ink next turn. So it saves you a card from having to draw and to use up your draw and then play that as an ink. This card I'm surprised this card isn't common. If this was Yu-Gi-Oh, this would be a like Ultra or something, and this card would probably be about $60. So this get an extra copy. Powerhouse of a card. I'm so happy that Ravenburger, whatever they are, did not actually make this a uncommon or anything else because this is just an expensive card if not. So we got Tinkerbell, and funny thing is she was our promo. I don't know if she's everybody's promo, but she's a pretty expensive common at 75 cents each. I think she's really good, and you're gonna want her eventually anyways because you're gonna want to be playing like big Tinkerbell. So if you can find her for cheap, then jump on it because it's going to help your deck quite a bit. She does give the deck some draw / discard power out of everything because you're like a lot of steel cards is all about drawing and discarding. But to me, that's about just getting to choose like, hey, look, I don't need this card in my hand. I need this card. So like getting that effect is really nice. And so you're going to play 4 copies of her. Aurora, Briar Rose, or Dreaming Guardian. Sorry, I can't read these little top prints. You're going to want to buy at least an extra copy of her. I don't think you need 4 in most decks, but I think 2 is a good answer, and she's something that you can really hold on to until you need her more. So getting one of these, she's only $3 right now. It's really good. You're going to spend about $4, another $3 on Maleficent Uninvited. This card at a budget format is extremely good. Great stat line, 3 lore, buy 3 copies of her. It's going to cost you about $4. Uh, Still sticking with 2 beasts. I did. We're going to keep Scar in for now. If you can find an extra Maui, then jump on this guy for 40 cents, just so you have a boss monster at the end. He is replaceable. You could play the Simba again if you wanted, or the Mufasa. You don't have to find another one. But if you're trying to try, I think this is better optimally because a lot of the Simba cards aren't really that good at this high on the high spectrum. The only thing I kind of missed that I wish we had was the Simba that was like a one. Where is he at? Right here. I really wish that this card was in the structure decks or something, because when you play this card, you may draw a card, then choose a discard, and it's also inkable. This card is just really good. Realistically, if we had the money to spend, then this would be replacing Goons. But we'll go over that in the $100 builds. But 76 cents versus 10 cents. If you can find this common, it is a really good common to replace the Goons altogether with. But otherwise, we'll keep progressing for now. Where are we at? So we got actions. Develop your brain, buy an extra copy. You want that. Fire the cannons. We are not playing 3 yet, or 4 yet. We will eventually want to do that, but no need just yet, because we're still playing Smash. We're still kind of a structure deck format. And we got 4 one-jump aheads. This card is just putting stuff into your inkwell. We talked about it with Mickey. It's a really strong card. You're going to want multiple copies of that. And the money that you're spending, $6, $12, $18, an extra $18 outside the structure deck is going towards Grab Your Swords. This card is good in every steel deck that you play. It's $6. It's going to be a long-term investment card. If you are going to be playing steel in any variant, you're going to be playing 4 copies of this card, so you might as well pick them up when you need it. As far as the items go, I took out basically everything. We took out everything but Coconut Baskets. Coconut Baskets is still good early game. We have a lot of big health minions, so this is a good card to keep. And Eye of Fates, I like this card a lot. Chosen character gains +1 lore this turn for free. So as soon as you play this, you can start questing for 1 more every single turn. Really it feels like an underwhelming card, but it is really good, because in about 2-3 turns you are putting them on such a big counter that your opponent otherwise wouldn't think of, and realistically they probably aren't going to be able to have a way to deal with that card unless they're playing steel as well. So that is our $50 deck list. It's basically just an improved version of our structure deck. But what if I want to make an actual build? Well, this is definitely where we get tricky. There is not much to do for $100 when you're playing blue steel. A lot of the good cards that you're going to need are expensive. Bell is the best card for if you want to make ramp. You're playing Bell, and those are about $40 each. Hades is the deck's main removal tool. Those are about $30 each. So that's $120 right there. Robin Hood is a really good card as well. $4 each, that's 16. You're probably going to want to play him because he's just a great stat line that's going to replace a lot. Let It Go, you need it again for more removal. That's $6, $12, $18, $24 again for Let It Go. And when we get to Steel, thankfully the only big money card here is, there's Tinkerbell and A Whole New World, and we're going to want both of those cards. Tinkerbell sitting at about $30 each, and A Whole New World sitting at about 17. So Steel and Blue are probably the hardest decks to make budget-wise. But if you're telling me, hey, look, I really like the Blue Steel colors, and I want to do something, there's got to be something that I can do to really help out this deck. What can I do, Mr. Prunk? Save me. Let's make a $100 build together. You've convinced me. Let's do it. All right, so this is what I came up with for about $100. It's really just an improved version of the structure deck, and kind of dipping in and focusing on getting yourself some staples for steel, because it is one of the more meta decks right now. So this is probably the best I can think of that is going to get us to the $100 limit. Again, we're giving us about a $6 window because of how Fire the Cannons is in the structure deck. So let's take a look at it. We're still on 4 Captain Hooks, 4 Auroras, 4 Grandmas, 4 Erics, 4 Mickey Mouse, 4 Tinkerbells, just to get that draw power. 2 Maleficents, Sinister, Valiant. We're going to bring her back in just to kind of give us a little bit more of a mid-game, and she's a cheap card, and I needed some cheap cards at this point. Aurora, we're just going to play our 1 copy. If you have her, again, if you did buy her at 2, then she's probably still better at 2, but I'm trying to keep the deck under $100 and show it off. So just kind of be aware about that. Maleficent, and actually we could put her and still be under our $6 limit if we wanted to do that. So we could do something like that. So something along those lines I think is totally fine. Let's actually just get rid of this and we'll pop in somebody else. So Maleficent, 2 copies. The other Maleficent, the uninvited, the good one, you're going to still want to play 4 copies of her. She is a really strong blue card. We're going to have 2 Beast. We're going to have 2 Scar. And now we're going all in on Maui. You can replace them with Trident. You can play the Simbas if you don't want to have to buy extra copies of this card. I fully get it. But it's a strong, really strong rare for a cheap price. It's probably the cheapest rare you'll find. So he might be worth it in this, and he is just a really good endgame card. He's going to be a target of a lot of big things, big cards in removal. So just kind of be aware about that. He is nothing crazy, and he is replaceable with any like 5, 6, 7 drop that you might want. As long as it is inkable, you'll be fine. I like Maui though. Over to our actions, still 4 Developer Brains. We're going to put in our 4th Cannons. We're still only going to play 2 Smash, 1 Jump Ahead, and our money that we spent is ultimately on a Whole New World. Why this card is so important, and we're playing 3 copies because that's all we can afford, and if you can get a 4th one, you're going to want to get a 4th one eventually. It is so important because a lot of this deck is putting things into your Inkwell and then playing off really big items. So it is because of that, you're going to empty your hand, and if you notice when you're playing these structure decks, very often it comes down to a top deck war. You do not have much draw power and synergy or recursions. Especially with blue and steel, you have almost no recursion. You got a little bit of draw power because of like develop your brain, but ultimately it's a 1-for-1. You're not actually gaining any advantage. So a Whole New World just resets the game for you. You're often going to want to try and ink as much stuff as you can and throw down a Whole New World. Maybe sing it after you play Aurora or something, and next turn and just ink. So this card right here again is just in every steel deck. I'm playing 3 copies now. You're gonna want a 4th eventually. I often just hard roll, like at the very beginning of the game. If I don't have it in my opening hand, I might just full mulligan if I don't like much of my hand, because this card is just so important so that we can stay alive. Grab Your Swords is kind of still in that ballpark though. It's just where you're playing this card, you are trying to hard draw into it early on, because if you're facing aggro, you're gonna want this card in your hand. So I like to hold on to this card until I really know I need it. If I have no idea what my opponent is playing, then I will often keep it in my opening hand as well, just because if they're playing aggro, I'm going to need that turn 5. And I don't have big Tinkerbell yet, so that's really my only sense of board wipe. So we're going to desperately want to keep 4 copies of that in our deck, and we're often going to keep that in our opening hand. So that is my $100 list, guys. I'm at 59. You can put in an extra copy of something right now. We'll throw Smash in. There we go. And we're still under our we got our $6 leeway right there. So this is a good looking list. It feels consistent. It does what the deck needs to do. There are a lot of ways to kind of tweak it and improve it, but the money cards that you're going to be spending to get this up and running, it's blue steel is probably the most expensive 2 colors that you're going to find, other than I think purple because of Elsa. But Elsa is not necessary for a lot of decks where I feel like Great Fairy or Tinkerbell is going to be necessary. Whole New World is necessary. If you're playing Princess Ramp, then Belle is 100% necessary. So let's talk about it, and let's build off the blue steel moneyless build. If you are a whale, here is the next deck list for you. All right, let's talk about Blue Steel Zoolander. So this deck right here is, I fed it to make 60, but realistically, you can probably play like a 62 card deck version of this, and that's just playing Captain Hook and Prince Eric at 4 copies each. But I think because you have a decent amount of low drops here, this is going to be good. Simba's a really good card to open with as well. So let's talk about the list. We added in Simba's, 4 copies of Simba, because this is just draw a card, discard a card. It's just helping you clean up your hand as best you can, especially if your mulligan goes sideways. So this is Simba's going to be a big common card that you're going to want to try and find. We're still playing 4 Mickey, 4 Tinkerbells, and now we're playing 4 Bells. So Belle is a $40 card, but oh my, she does everything that you'd want out of a $40 card. She is your endgame boss card. You are not playing this on turn 4. Do not play this in turn 4 unless you are just going to be inking your hand. And that is the big thing I'm going to be stressing. If you don't have a hand and you only have Belle, keep her in there. Because she's going to be the focus of a lot of removal. During your turn, you may play an additional card from your hand into your inkwell face down. That is really good ramp. And when she has 10 cards in the inkwell, you're going to get +4. The only times you're really going to not want to play her is if you have the whole new world in hand and you have a lot of inkables, because you're going to want to try and get her to 10 as quickly as possible. And man, when she gets to there, she is a terrifying powerhouse, especially when you combo her with Aura. Now she is not she can't be targeted removal, so you're very likely going to get at least 5 lore out of her at least once. So again, that is the deck. This is the structure that you're building off. You're making the ramp. You're playing the 4 Mickeys because you want to basically mill in your stuff. You're playing the oh wait, I took it out. Shoot, I gotta put those back in. You're playing Mickeys because of that. You're playing. Where I like that card? Oh, it's a Fishbone. Fishbone is basically kind of like the replacement for the blue card that I'm gonna find it. Sorry, technical difficulties. Hold on, hold up a minute. One jump ahead. This is the other card I was thinking about. So you can play these at 2. I don't think you really need to, but this card again is just filling up your inkwell, and sometimes you just really want to do it. The fact that you're playing this and getting a card from the top of your deck into your inkwell is still good, but I think there are better ways to get it in there. But you're going to want things in your inkwell really quickly. So if you're struggling for deck space, you can cut it, and that's kind of what I was doing. I was trying to figure out what I wanted, and I actually forgot to put it in the first place, but I think that not including it is correct. Because I think we have a lot of ways to get cards into our deck with Belle, Mickey, and with or Fishbone Quill. I think we'll be fine. So $40 card. She is $160 total. It is not a cheap. This is not a cheap deck list. Blue Steel is not cheap. I'm going to stress that. Robin Hood. You should be playing 4. If you can get him, get 4 copies of him. He is evasive, and he has draw power. That's something that this deck desperately needs, both of those. And not so much as evasive, that doesn't really matter, but the draw power with them is great. You are likely, whenever you play this card, if your opponent has more cards in their hand than you, draw a card. You're likely, since you're inking 2 cards every turn, you're probably not going to have as many cards as your opponent. So chances are Robin Hood is going to be a good card advantage. And he's got a good stat line. His ink cost is a little high, but that's why he's inkable. So I like him a lot in the deck. You should be playing 4 copies, and that's $16 right there. Tinkerbell, another 30. This is a $30 card. So again, but the nice thing with Tinkerbell, I will say, is she is going in again every steel deck that you're playing. So it is long-term investment. So if you are going to switch this out to being like, I want to play Steel Amber later, then it is a good long-term card for that. And so $30 each, $120. At least she is a staple of the decks. So you're always going to want Tinkerbell. So this investment, if anything, is probably the best thing to invest into the deck. Probably as like a first priority. If you're not really making, I don't want to play Bell Ramp, but you do like Blue Steel, then Tinkerbell should be your your next priority outside of Grab Your Swords and A Whole New World. From there, we got Hades, another $30 card. This is more removal. The deck is starting to not need the removal, though. So Hades you can get away without playing. He is not inkable, and he's only questing for 2 at a 7 cost. So he is probably the card you can cut the most to make this deck work. And then just replace him with the 3 Smash card instead. Just because you still have removal options with that card. But now you're not. Am I only in blue? Yeah. Yeah, you have the removal options with it, but if you're casually upgrading to this deck, Hades is probably last priority, and you're going to replace Hades with Smash in the meantime. So those 2 cards are going to basically do the same thing, but Hades is obviously a better version of it, and he is a late game boss monster. Something that this deck does kind of need. If you can't get to your bells, then Hades is great for it. Otherwise, still 4 whole new worlds, 4 cannons, 4 develop your brain, 4 grab your swords. We're adding in beast mirrors because again, draw power is important for this. And we probably should have played this last in our $100 deck, but we didn't, so sorry. And then we got Fishborn Quill. We're playing 4 copies of this. Again, it's just to get your bell ramping up and going. So this deck, as it stands right now, will cost you about $500. It is, again, blue steel are probably 2 of the most expensive decks to really make. I think purple is next to the runner-up, but I think it's only really because of Elsa. Yeah, Elsa is the only reason purple is expensive at the moment. So like, yeah, you can and she. I do not feel like Elsa is necessary, to be 100% honest. But so blue and steel are 100% the most expensive deck type. So if you are playing this, the $100 build will get you there, and you'll be able to play competitive in tournaments for. And I say competitive, I say maybe top 8 if you're a good player. But if you are going all in and you want the best possible blue steel deck you can get, you're gonna spend money. So that's gonna do it, guys. Hopefully all this information was helpful for you. My name is Prunk. Please like and subscribe. Do all the YouTube stuff. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please let me know. If you want to see more stuff like this, I just finished. This is the final starter deck, so I might just start comboing certain colors together if you guys do want to see more content of this. But if you don't, then I don't know. So take care, guys. And again, please like and subscribe. Bye.